Good day, good evening, whichever time you're watching this show. It is Brother Kenneth, and it's the Art of the Deals. And this one we're answering the big question, can laity do exorcism? Short answer, no. The exorcism is specifically written for a priest to say. Laity can do other prayers. I don't even do the minor rite. I don't care what you read somewhere from people, that's just, I've read the minor rite, and there's lines in there that laity should not say. Stay away from the minor rite. You can say a litany of saints and just hammer it out or something if you get, your daughter becomes possessed. Get the holy water out and say, in the name of Jesus Christ, I rebuke you. Hold a crucifix up. Do all of the stuff, but don't use words that were meant for priests. Okay, so exorcism and exorcist and so forth, those are Latin words. They originated in the church, and the definition, of course, is exorcist is a priest or a bishop allocating the office to the authority to a priest. It's his Episcopal order, so he's by default an exorcist. And when he appoints a priest, the priest picks up that authority from this. There was a case where I was not allowed to go in. The client hated Catholics for some reason, even though she used to be one. So I actually had some people go in and investigate the place and then relay the details over the phone. And I recommended that she needs a deliverance minor rite to break this oppression that she's got. And while the Baptist minister came over, he brought a crucifix, which is rather odd, and to use during it, not just to stand there. He was holding it. And the woman, her eyes went black and all this other stuff at some point, but it took him 7 hours to get the spirit, and there was a sign of departure. There was vomiting. Okay, so laity. If you hypothetically, we'll just assume that you're, fully Catholic, you're in a state of grace, and you do a deliverance, but don't, not the minor rite, and you did that same person that this person was, who was oppressed. It should take you, I don't know, depends, 20 to 60 minutes to get it done. But you can't order this demon or demons into everlasting hell. You don't have the authority. So now that you kicked it out, what are you going to do? Well, you can give them a Saint Benedict medal, Blessed Mother medal. You can give them some prayers. You can, and they get a grace period. It's about 90 days. But it doesn't. The fact that it left, do you really think they're going to leave to humor you? The answer is no. What will happen, though, is if you don't have all your stuff together, you're going to get payback. Guess what? The priests get it too. So the calling has to be there too. You can't do stuff that God doesn't want you to do or doesn't plan you to do. You have to ask for God's will on it. You'll be praying a long time to find Miss Right or Mr. Right, or to decide if you're going to be a nun, even in a convent. Some people being scared that, what if this is wrong for me? Fear, anxiety. Those are big decisions. This is a big decision too. Demons, don't forget, they're not like these guys, who are in the movies that are exercising, preparing themselves for that day when they get out of jail so they can get even with the cop who put them there. It's like demons are like that, though. And they're not going to go light on you either. If it's going to get all the way through your life, you're going to get it at the hour of your death. And no, being in a state of grace doesn't protect you by default. That's par zero. What are you doing on top of what you're supposed to do besides going to Mass once a week and going to confession, staying in a state of grace? You have to suddenly pray for protection now. You messed with the mafia. Now you're going to need FBI identity change, and I'm just giving a metaphor. Change your name to fight demons. The answer is not going where people are going to say that, oh, no, that's wrong. Father so-and-so said, no, okay, well, they don't give the whole detail of this because they don't want to encourage it for one thing, because we're going to get a bunch of more half-wits out there like these fake priests that are on Zach Bagans' show that are doing this stuff, and then you wonder how long they last. They last about 5-8 years, and then they go away because they get major illnesses, diseases, hardships, or they can't deal with the hardships anymore, and they back off, and they retire along those lines. Well, you just can't dive into this stuff as laity and expect that you're just going to be even accepted by the people that you need their authority from. How do I say that? You can't expect to just dive into this stuff and then you're not going to have the consequences for it. And that's a problem, in my opinion, in itself. And that everybody is going to not have a healthy curiosity even on this stuff. Unhealthy interest will be present. And that's something to be concerned about. So since the big question is can laity do it? Yes, all the factors that are involved there. And just like people can't just jump in and pray the Christinorum prayers, the Auxilium Christinorum prayers, without expecting payback, and that people should seriously consider that, because you're still entering the battle, because you're praying for exorcists, you're praying for the possessed, and you're praying for the protection of others. You're out of your line a bit on your authority there even. That it's nice to combine all these prayers, but when you enter the battle because you're affecting demons, they're going to come and affect you. And if you don't have a calling, it's going to even affect you harder. And that's just praying for them. I told the story on my other video, if you watched the three-part series on it about a prayer group, that basically their families broke up, and just from praying about one possession case that I was working on. They split up inside of a month. And all these hardships happened. Cars break down. Hey, where's Gary and Sheila? Oh, their car broke down. They couldn't make it at the last minute. This stuff happens. Now, although you refuse to recognize it. It's like, no, dear, the car broke down. It's nothing. Don't worry about it. The dishwasher, it's nothing. But don't be a fool, okay? And that's why I said that's why God has to call you. Chances are He already had called you long ago, but if you look back in your life, you might see that you've been bred for this stuff your whole life in some cases, rather than to be someone He calls at the last minute, which is, I think, is less likely that you're going to be bred for it. God knows you from the time you're born. So is that the big question answered, I guess, is the thing that I want to mention. Can laity do exorcism? No, they can't specifically do exorcism because it's not the proper word. It's called deliverance. When laity or other denominations do it, it's called deliverance. So when we use that term, that's what we mean. And to clarify that despite what you hear or think you read, if it was true that laity can't do exorcisms or deliverance, they can't drive a demon out on somebody besides somebody who's underneath them, like their spouse or their kids, that it wouldn't work. And getting payback doesn't mean that it didn't work. It meant it did work and you made them mad, but it means that you're not protected enough because you're not doing the right prayers, you're not called to do the work, and any number of reasons, which we can give you a list in another video. That's the biggest argument. If people are going to tell you that you can't do the spiritual warfare, but you can't ignore all the stuff I said. You can't ignore it. Don't be a fool. But the fact is that if laity couldn't do it, they wouldn't be able... Why do you think the demon would go and be gone if laity couldn't do it? And the other denominations, even if it took them 7 hours. It's a little complicated thing, but the fact is it can happen. But see, priests use different prayers. It'll be more efficacious, more powerful, more potent, pack more of a punch. It'll last longer. So the reality is that, let's say you're, in a ministry, and then you're there, and you try some prayers with the woman, and then you realize, hey, nothing worked. Then you go to the priest. You go to the next person up. Well, Father Bob Bailey, when he was on a team, when he would hit an exorcism case, and he would do some prayers, but not trying to drive a demon out, kind of like the test did a little bit too, and then he'd realize, I got to go to my bishop. I don't have the authority to use exorcism prayers on this person, so he's going to need to have an exorcist come in there who will pack more punch, not just because of the prayers he uses, but because his appointment, like I said, it's supernatural. The appointment is not just some sort of governmental thing or clerical thing, you'd slap a name on him. And when it's in the Roman Catholic Church, like I said, there's a lot of danger points on there. Don't you jump in and do the work. But we got stuck in those situations sometimes too, and doing a deliverance on someone way more possessed than this gal I was telling you the Baptist minister worked on. And it took 20 minutes to kick it out. Time I actually did it by myself, and 4 adults holding her down, still biting one of them in the arm. But laity cannot confine it into everlasting hell. You can send it to the foot of the cross of Jesus in the name of Jesus. Okay, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this topic right here, I think. But if anybody has any questions, put them in the comments below, and I'll answer them. Or if I have to, I can clarify something on a video if it's justified. And like and subscribe and share. This is information that's coming from being in the practical field of this stuff. We're appointed by bishop. We are professed Franciscans. We are not appointed as exorcists. We're appointed as everything but exorcists to where we can handle all the stuff below. We have our certification as diocese catechist because the bishop considers it evangelization. I did a video that if you don't get them to the church, you failed, because if you just kick out a bunch of flies, or roaches better yet, learn how to keep the crumbs off the floor and not bring boxes from the shed that you don't inspect outside first. If you don't take the practices, they'll come back, and they'll come back more. And it's the same thing as we reveal the ultimate goal of all the spiritual warfare stuff is to bring them closer to the church. It's a call to become more spiritual. Like if you have a heart attack, that means you got to change your lifestyle. You know, and that's what they got to do, and they got to do for the rest of their life, just like when they have a heart attack, you know, or diabetes is kicked in, type 2. So there's so many things we could talk about on, well, okay, yeah, you're a lady and you're doing it now, and then we find out a lot of them out there are getting hit and they're ignoring it, you know, getting kidney stone one after the other, and other health ailments, and their family already broke up, and it's like, what are you doing? And it's because they never discerned the whole process, never put it into God's hand. Let God tell you if he wants you to do this stuff. Just because it looks cool on TV and everything doesn't mean you should jump in. Stay away from prayer groups, too, that encourages laying of the hands and stuff like that, because if you do it on any level, and these people, you know, become possessed at these prayer groups and stuff, and I got stories about that, by the way, back even as far back as when I was 20 years old. So God bless everybody. Next time in Art of the Deals, we'll see you, or rather you'll see me. This is Brother Kenneth saying good day, good night, whatever time of the day it is. See you later.